everything you need to know about products and services that can improve your life. This is Experts on Call on CL 650.
Starship, we built this city. You know, Grace Slick's lead singer of Starship said that was her least favorite song.
Really?
Probably made them the most money, though. So I guess when the royalty check comes, maybe it's her favorite song. All right, we're talking about StrataLife, getting a little off topic, but we're going to go around the table and bring everybody in here for our last segment. But this next question, I think, is perfect for Albert from CanStar Restoration, and also, Gordon, you can talk about it with insurance. It says, we recently woke up to find water pouring through our bathroom light in an upstairs unit, from an upstairs unit. The restoration company got us cleaned up, but now we have to deal with insurance. What should I expect when I have a water claim?
Well, I'll let Gordon start with that possibly, and then I can go after.
Well, water claims are probably our most common claims, more common than fire or any other claims out there. Deductible-wise, it'll be charged to the person above.
Is that right?
Well, most likely from a Strata Corporation point of view, it's the
wherever
source.
The leak started,
the source unit will be charged, but we don't charge it. So usually the Strata Council.
That's what I was talking about earlier.
Along with the property manager. The assistant of property manager will make a decision and where that deductible was going to be charged to. So for that unit owner...
So let me just stop for 1 second. When this happens, we get into the dishwasher, going to the movies, letting the dishwasher run, and it drips, and it leaks, not drips, but it goes from your unit to the one below. Okay, so you get the call. Drew
They call
Key
Drew.
Pacific.
Drew calls Albert. Drew and Albert talk. Albert checks it out. Drew and Albert talk. We assess the extent of the damage. If it's going to be clearly over the deductible, Drew calls Gordon.
The insurance
says,
company?
Gordon, we're going to have a claim. Albert's on the scene. Then Albert and Gordon talk. And
But what I'm getting at is, so the number one thing is you need to get it fixed.
Yes.
Right. So you get it fixed, and then you assess
Yes.
whose insurance is going to pay
First
for
thing
it.
is mitigate it. Keep it from getting any worse than it was.
So who pays CanStar to restore it initially? Is that the Strata Council?
In the absence of any other financial decision, the Strata calls out CanStar, the Strata pays CanStar.
Okay.
If it's going to be a claim, then CanStar isn't going to bill you. They're going to send you a bill for the deductible a little later on. Early in the game, but a little later on from the occurrence.
So you establish pretty early on whether the insurance company is going to come in and pay for this.
Yes.
And then which insurance? The guy upstairs or the guy downstairs?
Well, if it's a significant claim, it doesn't matter at that point if they have insurance or not. We'll deal with that later because the Strata's insurance is going to deal with it. Okay. The owners will have to deal with it for their contents because the Strata insurance doesn't cover the contents.
And improvements.
And
so I was going to say,
if you put in hardwood floors and it used to be carpet?
Carpet, yeah. So that would involve the unit owner also making a call to their insurance company, and they may bring out the same contractor or a different one to deal with those contents and the flooring.
Okay, Albert, now you must be on scene.
Well, the key component for me is I want to determine what the true cause was, take pictures and everything so that the insurers then can decide who the responsible factor is.
But you must get in buildings and units especially where the person's there and you're looking and taking pictures and I have no insurance. What am I going to do? So then who ultimately, like you're saying, it gets fixed, not the upgrades, but the actual gets fixed. So if the person has no insurance, what recourse is there? Does that just go back to the Strata insurance?
Well, there are situations where steps will be taken to stop what's happening from getting worse. And if the person doesn't have the money or the insurance, assuming they're responsible, the Strata Corporation is going to pay for that, and they'll determine whether they're going to, how and if they're going to go after the owner. There are situations where all of that is taken care of, but there isn't a repair done in the unit because it's the owner's responsibility. Strata insurance didn't play a role. It's below the deductible. So the person up above may be responsible for the person down below, but they're not stepping to the plate. The Strata doesn't have a responsibility to repair a Strata lot, except to the extent that the insurance of the Strata would play a role in doing a repair. So if the Strata's insurance is out of the picture because it's below $5,000,
Right.
then the owners have to fight it out themselves. I hate to use the word fight, but they have to work it out themselves.
Yeah.
And in some cases may result in the person having to fix their own building or live with it as they see fit.
And that would be a very common case if they both don't have insurance. And that's the other thing we try to educate people is that if you are the unit owner that's the victim and have insurance, your insurance company would look after those repairs below the deductible, and then may or may not subrogate, but at least you get the repairs done.
Yep.
Versus if you don't have insurance, when we get those calls, and it's really hard to tell the unit owner, but the truth of it is that you are responsible for it, even though it's the guy upstairs. And to rectify the problem is basically the only other issue is you could take the guy upstairs to court and try to collect that. But for most individuals, that's not somewhere they want to go.
All right, the next question says, our Strata unit suffered some damage during a small fire. What happens now? What updates should I expect? Who should they come from? So that comes back to insurance again. This is a tangled web we weave here. If someone's had a fire and they're had carpet and now they've got hardwood and that is going to be replaced, that's up to the insurance company to make sure that was covered, right?
That would be under the individual's
insurance.
If they've upgraded it.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a betterment at that point.
Yes.
So when you go in there and you're the restoration company at CanStar, you take pictures and you see hardwood.
We take pictures of everything and basically like contents. We would list and make notes of all the betterments. So if you had crown molding, there's all kinds of things people don't think of. They upgrade their faucets, their countertops, their cabinets, all those things. If they've caused in a fire, if they have to be replaced, the building would only put back original to the structure.
So builder grade stuff, right?
Exactly. So if you put in gold cabinets, you're going to get
white
builder
cabinets.
grade. you're going to get whatever the contractor
prefer white
put
over
in.
gold personally. But
You're going to get whatever the contractor put in day one, or like kind and quality, if you will.
We're staying with relatives after a flood caused on our ground floor. How long does it typically take for the work to be done for us to move home? I guess that's a bit ambiguous because you have so many variables. But, from the beginning of a claim and, CanStar coming in, a restoration company, how long should you be expecting to be out of your unit?
Well, in that case, I would look at it from, say, you're saying it's a claim. So say a claim generally runs above $5,000. So in a great situation, it might be done within 30 days. That's perfect scenario. To be honest with you, you're probably somewhere between 6 to 8 weeks for the process to take its course. Mm-hmm. So that's just generally the way it goes. There is exceptions, and sometimes you can push it a little bit quicker, but it doesn't always work out.
Now, having Gordon here from insurance, what do you recommend because you're not doing individual strata units, you're doing the building insurance. But what do you recommend for people so they should have insurance for their contents, for upgrades, and for living away from, because a lot of people don't calculate that part in.
Yes.
Like if you had a fire, and we've had some big news stories of fires recently, you could be out of that unit for a long time.
Oh, yeah. What they do, they do come in packages. So once you get that content insurance, it'll come with a section called additional living expense. And most policies are those designed, like if you bought, say, $100,000 worth of content coverage, they would additional give you 50%. So it'll be $50,000 for additional living expense coverage, right? And then the deductible and a whole bunch of things. That's all packaged in these policies. So it's just a matter of, I would tell people, number one, make sure you go out there and get at least a basic package for yourself. But secondarily, when you go out there, assess what you have properly. And then the improvement and betterment also, it comes with a set limit. So you should assess those properly to see, if you did a whole bunch of upgrades to your unit, then you better make sure those are covered. And I think most people, if they get the basic insurance, they're not too bad. But it's hard to say these days with so many older stratas that, we've seen stratas where basically people's gone in and put hundreds of thousands of dollars in there. And I think most people think that, there's a portion of people here thinks that, what could happen really? Fires don't happen often, but it does. And sometimes it may not be your fault. It could be,
somebody else.
So
you need to be specific and say, I need coverage for any upgrades I've done.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Good advice. Next question. We'll have to do this one quickly because we're kind of running out of time. We have had several floods in our parkade. Do we have to do anything other than pump the water out?
Well, I'd want to try and resolve the issue. That might be the first step, but that'd be about it. I mean,
upgrade. We've got a pool.
Yeah, I mean, in your parkade, I hope not. But anyway, I think you have to look at it from want to resolve the problem. So figure out what that is. That expense needs to be dealt with, and then after that, just make sure your drainage and everything is functioning properly in your parkade, because you want to make sure it's being, it should take care of itself for the most part.
All right. In the time we have left, Drew, I'll turn it over to you. Dealing with stratas and people, and we've talked a lot about insurance and the related damage that can happen in a strata, and so from all of the things that you've seen through the years, what's your advice to people who live in a strata around making sure you're protected and what you can do?
Every annual general meeting, we're always telling the owners, get your home insurance. There are too many owners out there that don't have their home insurance.
You've told me in the past you've seen buildings with 50% don't have insurance, right?
Yeah. Too many people think the Stratus insurance is going to take care of them, and it's just not enough. They need to be insured. I mean, they're gambling. And the thing is, when you lose, you generally lose big. It's not a small loss.
And the good news is that content insurance isn't that expensive, is it?
No, it's relatively inexpensive. I would say, if average policy, like say $500-600 would get you really
a year.
Yeah, not a month, a year. So
a year.
Be clear, a year, and we'll get you a great policy that's going to give you the proper coverage for your deductibles, your content improvements, liability.
And it makes it, when CanStar gets called to go in and restore any kind of damage, it makes life a lot easier, right?
Oh, 100%. I mean, all homeowners, if they're renting out their unit, should also make sure that their renters have some form of coverage. I mean, because they are part of the problem if it arises, right?
Can the person, quickly, because we're running out of time here, if you own a unit and you rent it out, can the owner take insurance to cover any of these things that we've talked about, other than just basic fire or what have you?
You talking about the owner getting coverage for the tenant?
Yeah, or whatever's in there. No, you can't do it. It has to be separate.
Tenants, yeah.
I can't insure your couch.
No.
But I can insure the building that I'm renting to you. I can insure the inside. I can get the protection against the deductible chargeback.
Right. And any major water damage or anything like that.
I can get those things to protect me in the event that you cause something.
All right, that's the voice of Drew Grout from Key Pacific Property Management. We also had Gordon Lai, Client Executive and Vice President of CMW Insurance, and Albert Atfield, Project Manager of CanStar Restorations. Gentlemen, it's great to see you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
And,
thanks, Zach.
And we'll see you soon. That's all the time we have for this edition of StrataLife. I'm Zach Spencer. I'll speak to you next time on CL 650.